Welcome back to the channel. In our previous videos we have seen at HTML basics, and in this video we are going to look at HTML. In this video we are going to look at CSS, introduction to CSS. So CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet. CSS is the language we use to style a web page. And when you look at the syntax of CSS, a CSS rule consists of a selector and a declaration block. So when you look at this image, I have here a selector h1, and then I have a declaration block this side. So the syntax looks like this. You have here a selector, and then you have the declaration block. A declaration block consists of a property like color, and then the value like blue. And then we have also font size as a property, and then you have 12 pixels as a value. And the selector, this we are talking about here, points to an HTML element that you want to style. So let's say you have a heading 1. You can look, I have a sample HTML code here. So I have h1 that is saying this is heading 1. So if I want to style this, I get a selector which is a tag like this one. So this selector is always pointing back to the HTML that you are trying to design or trying to change, right? So now if you look at the declaration block contains always one or more declarations separated by semicolons. So going back to our example of h1, you can look at, we have like two properties here. We have font size, which is saying 14 pixels, and then we have color, it says blue. So this is it has more than one declarations, and you can see from one property to go to another one, we have here separated by this semicolon. Okay, so each declaration includes a CSS property name and a value separated by a colon. So you look at this, you have color, and then to get to the property, you have these colons here. So this side, the left side is a property, and then the right side of the colon is a value. Okay, so here we have an example. So in this example, we have a p tag, and we are giving it a color of red and text align center. So these are two properties that we are talking about. So in this example, p is a selector in CSS, and it points the HTML element that you want to style, and that is the p tag. Then color is a property, and red is the property value. So we said this is a property, and then this is a value. So text align is a property, and center is a property value. Okay, so let's look at CSS selectors. So a CSS selector selects the HTML element you want to style. A CSS selectors are used to find or select the HTML elements that you want to style. So selectors are divided into 5 categories. So the first category is simple selectors. So simple selectors or basic selectors, those are they select elements based on name, ID, class. So like example, if you look at this one, this is a simple selector or a basic selector. This is using the name, the tag name. So this is an example of a simple selector. So we have combinator selectors. So they select elements based on a specific relationship between them. Then we have pseudo class selectors. They select elements based on a certain state, like hover, like visited. We are going to look at those ones as we go on in the course. So we have pseudo element selectors. They select and style part of an element. So we have attribute selectors, like data attributes and what kind of stuff. So most of these selectors, we are going to be meeting them as we are going along the way as we are doing the course. So you don't have to worry about all this. We are going to be meeting some of these ones as we move in the course. So in this last slide, before we start writing code, we have ways of adding CSS to an HTML code. So in this you have 3 ways. So the first one is using the style tag. The second one is using inline styles, and then the third one is using the link tag. Okay, so let's jump in VS Code and we see how we can style our pages. Okay, so I'm just going to go to my desktop, and you remember this folder, we have been using it in this course. Open the folder, and in this folder I'm just going to go to HTML fundamentals. And guys, you remember this this folder, lesson 1 starter. And guys, if you are new to the channel, we are doing a series about a complete HTML CSS course, where we are going to build a lot of projects. So if this is your first episode, please go back. I'm just going to link the playlist in the description below. Go there, find the playlist, or you first go to the previous video and you see what we created first about the HTML fundamentals. Then you can catch up with these lectures. And if you have not subscribed, this is a point. Smash that subscribe button and that notification so that you cannot miss any of my videos. So let's continue. I'm just going to, we have this lesson 01 starter. So I'm just going to simply I want to use the code we used the last time. So I'm just going to copy and paste it. I remain with the code we did previously, and actually I can just name this one something else, maybe lesson 2, I don't know, but you can just name it like that. And then I'm just going to open this with VS Code. And by the way, if you don't know how we installed VS Code, all those lessons are there, guys. Check in the link description. Check out so that you move step by step. So our VS Code is opening our folder. So the first thing we are going to look at, ways of adding CSS to our HTML. So guys, this folder we did it in the last we did this folder in the last we did it in the last previous videos. So you are familiar with this. This is some of the code that we did in the last or in the previous videos. Okay, so we said there are 3 ways. There are 3 ways of styling an HTML there are 3 ways of styling a web page or bringing CSS in the web page. So we're going to look at those 3 ways, and we said those 3 I'm going to say here: ways of adding CSS to a web page. Okay, so the easiest one, we're going to start with number 1. Number 1 is where we use inline CSS, right? Okay, so inline CSS is when I want to style this heading 1. By the way, let me first open this web page in the browser. Let me first open this in the browser. Okay, so I'm not going to use all this one. It is too much code. I'm just going to go to one of these pages like contact. So here we have little code here. Okay, I can even create another one. I'm just going to create another one. I feel feeling I'm just going to create another one. I'm just going to call it test.html, right, like so. And by the way, the shortcut, you press shift and one button. There is the button on 1. If you look on the keyboard, there is 1. You press on that, it brings that, and that image, press enter, so press tab, and you have this template written out for you by the VS Code. And we talked all about this. You know what this all means. Okay, so today we are in CSS basics, or intro to CSS. So we want to say we are looking at ways of bringing, how do you bring CSS in a web page. So the first way, we said we are going to look at inline CSS, right? Okay, so I'm just going to write here. I want to first open this, so I'm just going to have like a p tag, and I'm just say this is my paragraph. This is my paragraph. Okay, is that the spelling, guys? Paragraph. Why do I always fail to write the right spelling? Okay, this is my paragraph. I'm just going to open this with Drive server, right? Okay, click on the Drive server, and by the way, if you don't have this right the server, please go back and see how we install the live server extension. Okay, sorry, with that, I want to zoom in. Okay, this is my paragraph. Okay, so this is our paragraph, guys. So we want to see how can we style this. So the first way is, we said we can write what we call inline CSS. So inline CSS is where we write CSS as an attribute. So you come to this p tag and give it an attribute called style, and in this style, then you can list the styles you want to give to this p tag. So for instance, we want to change its color to red. So what I will do, I will just say color. I will just write color, and then from here I can give it the color. I can say the color I want to give it is red. As simple as that, right? And by the way, guys, if you don't have this red color coming out like mine, I used a VS Code extension. I think it is called a color highlighter. So you just come here to the extensions and you can say color highlighter. I don't know, guys, I'm having some problems with my extensions. Oh, okay, so I'm offline, guys, sorry for that. But the extension is called color highlighter, and you can check out that extension. Okay, so moving on, you see we have given this, what you have written here, this syntax where we write style as an attribute. So it can hold all the styles within here, and if you go back to the browser, you can see that our paragraph has turned red. So that is the first way and the easiest way of styling an element, so using an inline CSS. Okay, so I'm just going to write here another way. So the second way we talked about was using a style tag. So instead you can use a style what? So the second way, I'm just going to write here 1 inline CSS, and here I'm just going to write the second way as, the second way is using style tag, style tag. So I'm just going to go here below the body and I simply write in style as a tag. As simple as that. So you are familiar with this syntax. This is a syntax of a tag. So style is a tag name. So here, how do we write? If you remember, guys, the syntax, I'm just going to write here another element that we can use to style. Okay, I'm just going to write here h4. You can write anything. So this is my heading 4. This is my heading 4. Okay, so if you look at the web page, it is here. This is my heading 4. So I want to style this using the style tag. So this is one way, and this is another way how you can style using this style tag. So you simply come, if you remember very well the syntax we saw that the syntax is in this format. You have the selector, which is h1, and then you have the declaration using these curly braces. So you look at the declaration block is surrounded by the curly braces. So you simply come and you say, what is my selector? I want to select h4. So I come here and I write h4, as simple as that. So the declaration block is surrounded by the curly braces. Simply click on the curly braces, and by just doing like shift and that. Okay, so these are the curly braces, and then in the curly braces I'm just going to write the styles. So for instance, I can say color, turn it to blue, right? So this is a property and this is a value, right? So I can give it color blue, and then I can also give font size, and then font size I can make it 20 pixels, right? So if I go back to my browser, this has become blue, and then it has also grown to 20 pixels. Okay, so that is the second way how we can add CSS to our script or CSS to our web page. Okay, and then the third and the best way, I'm just going to tell the third way is linking to a style, linking to a style sheet. Okay, so this is the third way, linking to a style sheet, or you make a style sheet file. So you make a CSS what? Here you have a CSS file separate from this. So what you do is, we are going to move all our code like this one. We are going to move it to that style sheet. How do we do that? So I just come here in my directory here, and just going to right click and new file. Or guys, you can click on this plus icon, and then you say style.css. Okay, so this is a brand new file. We have given it style, and then we have given it an extension here, guys, saying style.css, or we have given it a .css style if you look at it here. Okay, so if I come now, we have let me first close all these others so that we are not confused. We are working with this one. So if I come here, I'm just going to write another p tag. Right, let me just write another h, like h1. So I'm just going to write h1, and I'm just going to say this is heading 1, this is heading 1. Okay, so I want to give this heading 1 color of green, right? So I'm not using any of these ones. I'm not putting even in style here. What I'm doing, I want to write the CSS for this in a separate file, which I've created here in the directory, and I've called it style.css. So if I come here and I say, we said the syntax remains the same. So I have a selector, which is my h1, and put curly braces like so, and then on the next line I write what I want to give, color, like so, press tab, and then you can give a color you want, for instance green. And by the way, VS Code is doing a great work of suggesting for you. So click on green, right? And now from there you can also give other things like font size to be maybe also 25 pixels. Okay, now when I go to my browser, well, no, and unfortunately you can see that our heading 1 is not having the styles we gave it. Okay, and this is something that normally happens. You normally go to another file and write your styles, and then you find they are not working. So if such a kind of thing happens, there's one step we have to do. So we have to link between this file, the style.css, we have to link to the test.html, and we tell this page that, do you know what, all your styles you are going to use are located in some file, and the file is in some place, right? So go to the head here, there is this head. So under the title here, you can just say link, right? Link, and there is, if you're having Emmet working, you will see something like here, link CSS, right? You can say link CSS, and it will write out this for you. So it's saying link, and it has this attribute. The first one is relationship. So this rel means relationship between this document and the one you are linking. So you say relationship is style sheet. We are trying to say this is where the styles are kept. And then the second attribute is href. Href is saying, okay, where is the file? Where is it located? Okay, and we talked about how we position this one. So this is an absolute a relative. This is a relative URL. So here you put where the document is kept. So I'm just going to remove this, and I want to show you. So you click, for instance, dot slash, and you see VS Code is going to suggest for you all the files that are in the root directory. So you can just simply click on this style.css. So with that, if you have correctly written out this and you have connected this, so here we have connected. So here we have linked our CSS, right? So we have linked our CSS, and if I go to the browser right now, you can see that my heading 1 is green. Okay, I'm having here is 2 times. Sorry for that. Okay, so if you look here, we have our heading 1 and it is in green. So guys, we have seen 3 ways of linking our styles. So these first two ways, we use them, but not so much. So you can imagine if you are writing all your styles here, you can actually find that your HTML is becoming so much and you are congesting it with CSS. So whereas the best way is to get and link all your styles in an external file that you create somewhere like here in the directory. That is the best way, and this is the way we are going to use in our course. Okay, so at the same time we have looked at the syntax of CSS. So you have a block of rules, or these are rules, and in this rule block we have a selector, and then we have the declaration block. In the declaration block we have a set of different properties that you are trying to target, or they're trying to change on that selector, like color, font size, and you're going to see so many properties as we move on in this course. Okay, so the first thing I'm just going to do, I'm just going to go, this is when we have been using our test HTML. So I'm just going to switch and go to our index. where we had previously gone, so that we can see how can we select some of most of these things. How do we select them? Okay, so let's start here from H1. Okay, so I'm just going to link a style sheet like this one, right? So I'm just go back and change here. I'm just going to go back to the browser. So go back to the browser where we have this one and change this one to index, like so. Click enter, and this is our index. Okay, we have a lot of headings, we have paragraphs, we have formatted elements, lists, and so many other things. This we did it in our in our previous video. You can check it down in the link. Okay, so I'm just going to link now this index. I'm just going to close out this test. So now we're working with our index. So I'm just going to link out this index. I link it to the CSS. Okay, so as usual, go to the head here, right, and simply say link CSS. As simple as that. Or you can type out this, type link as a tag, and by the way, it's a self-closing tag, and then give it a relationship style sheet, and then the href is style.css. And by the way, if I don't put anything like dot like that, still I just leave it like that, it still works. Here it assumes that you are in the directorate or the root directorate, and it will work. And with that, you will see that our h1s are going to turn to, or the h1s turn to green. And this is because in our styles we have h1 color green. If I turn this to blue, right, like so, you see, well, h1s becomes blue, and that is a very big advantage. So you can imagine quickly, I've given all my h1s a color of heading 1 blue, a color of blue, and this is really already looking amazing, right? Okay, so this is how we select. So you can select more things. By the way, you can also select the body. Let's start with the body, right? So this body, I can just come here and also select the body. So select the body as a selector and give it, for instance, a background color. I'm just going to say maybe a background color of chocolate. Let's say like chocolate. Of course, this is not a good color. Let me just say that color, and boom, you see our web page all changes its background color just like that, right? Okay, this color I'm not liking it, guys. I'm just going to change it to something like now we can give color in hex code. You can say, for instance, 333. That is a gray color. Let's just try something like 999. Okay, that is more better. Okay, so this is how our page is looking like, right? Or you could even just come here and simply write gray. As simple as that. You can write gray and the web page is going to be gray. Okay, so I'm not liking that color again. I'm just going to say smoke white, or white smoke, like so, and more better, right? Okay, so this is how we can select our body, and you can give it very many things. Okay, so you just move on. So try to select like heading 2. So you can just say heading 2s, we can give them a different color. So heading 2, give put color braces and say color, let's say green, right? And when you go back, all h2s, wherever they are, they will get a color of green. Okay, so where things starts getting interesting is, you saw here we gave h1 color blue. So what if I don't want all other h1s to have the heading the color of blue? So you can see what it did. It went to on our web page and it got all our h1s and it gave them the color of blue. So now this is where we have a first problem with CSS. So what the heck is giving everything the color? So if I want lists to have a different color, and I want here HTML formatted element to have a different color, so how do I achieve that? Okay, so there is a way. So this is why we introduce in classes and IDs. Okay, so a simple example, for instance, if you go to a school, you can find students have same names, but they can differentiate them using classes. You can find maybe you have a primary one, in primary 3 there is someone called Alex, and then even in primary 6 there is another person called Alex, but they can distinguish them using their class. So I can say I need to talk to Alex of P6, or I need to take to Alex of P1. So we can use a class to distinguish. For instance, I can come to headings. So this was a heading for headings, this one, right? I can give here, and I give it an attribute of a class, and then I give it a class, I give it a name that I want to use, any name. So I can just say this is headings. This was a heading for headings, so I can just simply say headings like that. So when I come this side, I can copy this class, simply Ctrl+C, copy that class, go to your style, and below here I'm going to write dot headings, then curly braces. So look at that syntax. Excuse me. Look at that syntax. We have a dot. Now in CSS, a dot symbolizes a class. So whenever I use a dot, I'm trying to say go to HTML and look for an element with a class headings. So what it will do, it will go to HTML code here and look for an element with that class. As simple as that. So inside here in these color braces, we can now say I don't want color of blue, but I want color of red. So you will just see that only and only these headings here has changed to red, and all others have changed, have remained with color blue. Okay, so using that one, we could go and change most of our headings. For instance, this was headings. I could go ahead and I call this one, I give this one class attribute, and I give this one paragraph heading, paragraph. By the way, give that you name these things so that they are understandable. If someone reads it, he can understand what you are talking about. So I'm just going to say paragraph heading as my name. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this, right, and take it to this side. Okay, so down here, or you can go at the end, scroll down here, and I said dot, paste, and I write curly braces, and from there I can just say this one I don't want. I want the color to be aqua. There are very many colors. You can even search on the internet to see all those colors. Simply put the color here. You can use the color code, or you can simply write the color, the name of the color, like so. Okay, I'm trying to keep it simple. So if you go here, you see that the paragraph heading has changed to aqua. Okay, it is looking terrible. I just going to call it this one to orange red. Okay, yeah, better. So this is my heading. So as a task, or as an exercise, go ahead and choose all these headings and give them different colors. So that is your first assignment. Please pause the video, and at this point go ahead and get these links and give them different colors. Okay, so let's start ways of styling other things. Okay, we have a lot of things on the web page. So for instance, let's look at our paragraph. So there's a lot we can choose about the paragraph. So if you look here, even the paragraphs, we have a lot of paragraphs. For instance, if I want to target only this paragraph, not all these ones, because if I right now come and I say a p tag and I say you get a color of violet, so what it will go to all the p tags on the page and give them that color, and we have seen that one is a bad is a bad practice. So always give them a class or give them an ID. So at this point I want to use an ID to style this. So I want to give this one, come here, and instead of giving a class right now, I'm just going to say ID, as simple as that. And ID is almost the same as a class, only that how we target them are different. So I'm just going to give an ID, and I'm also going to say description, right? So I have an ID of description. So get this, copy it by Ctrl C, go to our styles, and down here, instead of using a dot, so we said a dot is for classes, and then a hash like so is for IDs. So I'm just going to say hash description and put curly braces. So what this means is that you go to HTML and look for an element with this ID. So it will go here in the HTML and look for any element which is having an attribute ID called description. So we can actually now say, now get this color, and I'm just going to cut this color and I paste it here, blue violet, and I can remove this one, blue violet. And when we go back to our HTML, scroll up here, and you can see our description has turned to blue violet. Okay, so this is somehow how we are going to be targeting, how we are going to be styling, and you can see it is pretty simple. You simply have a selector, and then you have all the properties you want to use. For instance, I can just say text align center, text align, and you can have a lot of things, but right now I just keep it simple and you say center, right? And you see it has changed it to center alignment, guys. Okay, so this is how, in simple terms, how we target things. And we are using simple selectors like IDs, names, and classes. So let's move on and we look at some of the properties before I finish this video. I can see it is getting long. So the first thing is the rule of the thumb. In summary, the first thing is go to what you want to style. For instance, let's go to our links. So this is the link. If you go to these links right now, by the way, by default, links already have some colors. You can look at the links, they are already having some sort of blue color, yes, indicating the link. And then by default, links are underlined, right? So if, for instance, I want to remove the underline from the links, so what I do, I just go to, because I want to remove it from all the links, so I won't mind. So what I will do, I will go to styles and I say A is for an anchor tag, and so write the curly braces, and I say text decoration to none, text decoration to none. And with that, you take all the underline away from our links, right? You can take away the underline from our links. And if you wanted to leave on some, like you want this first one to be having the underline, then there we can use a class. So we can just say, for instance, class, we can give a class and we say this is a link. We just give it a name of the link, and I'll just come here, I give the same class. Sorry for that, guys. Okay, so I'm just going to go here, put a space and say class, and say link, and even on this one, class, and I say link, right? So I go this side, I copy my link, I come this side to style, and instead of selecting everything, I can simply dot link, and I say you go to the HTML and get all elements that have this class. And if you go back, you will see that only this one is having the underline, and all others the underline has been taken. So this is how you can class groups of the items of the same nature. If you have links, you can select all of them at once, or you can select specific ones. So we can even give them another color, right? We can give them another color. And which color can we give it? Let me just, you can either just scroll down here, there are a lot of nice colors. I can give them like this one, crimson. Okay, so you can look at these ones, all of them, they have changed their color, right? Okay, let's do something interesting. So if I want to hover, so that if I just bring the mouse on these ones and then they change how they look like they go back to black color, they go back to black color, or they go back to this state, what I would say is that, so I want to put a hover on this, and that one they call it hover, that property they call it hover. So what I like, this one is, by the way, this one is called a pseudo selector. So now what I do, I say dot link, this is the links, this one will select all my links, and then I will say dot, and then I write hover. So this selector you have written here is called a pseudo selector. Pseudo selectors, they have this dot thing here. You get? Okay, so what do I want to do? I want to say maybe text decoration. I want them to go back to the underline. I can just say text decoration to what? To underline, right? So if I go back right now and I hover, you can see, guys, you see the underline. Look at that. Look at that. So this is how you write a hover for all elements. For all elements, if even you can put a hover on description, simple, go to the element you are trying to write and give it this hover. We can even write more properties, for instance color. Sorry for that. So we can write color, and we can take it back to black. Okay, so when you look at that, you can style everything the way you want. Okay, so before we finish this video, let's look at images. How can we style images, right? So the same thing we did last time. Okay, so on images, I can come, I give it a class. So you can come on the image, and whatever image you can give it any class, and I'm just going to give it an image class. For instance, I am just going to give it maybe a program, a prog image. Any name can work, guys, at this point, but make sure that name you can understand it and remember what am I writing. So I'm just going to go here on image, and by the way, before I do that, let me remove all these things we had put, like height 150. So if I remove height 150, it will go crazy and be big like this, right? So I want to use CSS to bring back to its normal size. We want it. Okay, so go to image, and it VS Code has done this for us. So you have a class, and the class is a program image or a programming image. Copy that class, come this side down here, and you can put a dot, program image, surround it with quotes, and then we can say height to 200 pixels, as simple as that, and boom, you can see it is now resized to where it was. So the thing is as simple as that. Even the video, the same thing. You could just go to the video, right? Go to the video and give it a class. Now, sometimes when you have only one item, like a video itself, it is only one video, you could just only target the name. I'm just going also to remove this such that we can use CSS to target it. So if you look at it now, it is extremely big down here, right? Okay, want to use CSS to target that video. So what I'm going to do is I just go here. I can give a class of video. You can even give it the same class. Doesn't matter. You can give it the same name as this, as tag name, and they are totally okay and totally different. Okay, so I can, if I'm just going to use these selectors, guys, look at this. I have video, which is a name, and then I have video as a class. Don't get confused. If I want to select this video using the tag name, I can just come here and I say video. Just simple video. I'm not writing like dot or anything. This is a tag name, and you simply select that, and we can give this height of maybe 300 pixels, as simple as that, and boom, we have our video at 300 pixels. Or I can use, now this is using the tag name. I can put a comment here. This is when I use a tag name, video as a tag name. By the way, this is how you comment in CSS, and I give you a trick. If you want to comment or to know how they comment, simply say control, press control and slash, and you can say this is using the class. So in the class is dot video. Here you are meaning this is a class, and here you always mean that this is a tag name. Don't forget that, guys, and it normally happens so many times. Okay, so for video we can give it also a width, and we can just give it a width of 400 pixels, for instance. I don't know if that one will look nice. Okay, so this is our video so far, and we have styled it using this syntax. So okay, guys, we have looked at a list of rules, a list of how we write. We have written all this code, guys. This is too much code we have written today. This is a lot of code, and I'm feeling much energy, guys. This is a lot of code, and if you have continued and you have reached this level, all the congratulations. This is much. This is much, guys. Writing all this code, it is much, and I appreciate if you are still following up. And if you are not understanding, guys, it's okay. We have 7 projects that coming up next, and by the way, just right away in the next video we are starting with project 1. So there is nothing to worry if you're not following up, or if you're not getting in within those 7 projects. You would have captured the whole thing, and you move on straight, and you get this. We are going to write the websites. We are going to have 7, and in those 7 we have YouTube clone, we have a business website, and we even have a portfolio, or a portfolio, a web developer portfolio, where you're going to put all your projects. And by the way, don't forget, we are going to deploy all those projects online. So it is a lot coming on next, and you should catch up and continue liking. If this content is working for you, please subscribe and share the content that other people can benefit from this. And just support me. I'll just always put all the necessary things, and if you're not understanding or you want something to do it for you, please comment on the put the comment in the description below, such that I can find to know which part you didn't understand or what you want me to do for you. Okay, so with that, see you in the next video.